Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll learn about the third party process in SAP MM. Now this is a continuation to our series on special procurement processes. So in our series on special procurement process, these are the topics that we have covered till now. So in continuation to these processes, today we'll cover the third party process in SAP MM. We'll see what is the third party process in SAP and what steps are done in SAP in order to do this process. We'll see the configurations also which are behind this particular process in SAP. But before we start, if you're new to my channel or haven't subscribed yet, I would request you to kindly subscribe to my channel to get early notifications of all my content. Your likes and subscriptions really motivate me to create more content on SAP MM topics. So please support me. Now let's dive into our today's topic, that is the third party process in SAP MM. So basically third party process, or it is also called as a trading process, is a type of process where the supply against a purchase order happens directly to the buyer's customer. That is, a trader places a purchase order on a vendor and then asks the vendor to directly supply the material to its customer. Mainly this process is utilized by traders who basically purchase material from vendor and then supply them to their customers. So this process is a combination of MM and SD process. So basically in this process, the vendor will supply the material to its customer's customer. That is, for a vendor, the customer is the trader who is going to place the purchase order, but the vendor will be supplying the material to his customer's customer. That is the end customer who is going to receive the material from the trader. And that is why this is called a third party process. That is, a vendor will be supplying material not to the buyer, but to a third party, that is the buyer's customer. So you can see the third party process is primarily utilized by traders who purchase material from a vendor and then supply the same to an end customer. The delivery of material is done by vendor to the buyer's customer, and once the proof of delivery is received by the buyer, then the buyer will process invoice of the vendor and then raise invoice on its customer. So in this way, the distribution of goods directly to the customer leads to various benefits such as no inventory management, no transportation requirement, and no storage costs. So let's now understand the business process. So let's say that you are a trader. You receive a sales order from your customer. Now since you're a trader, so you will not be manufacturing the goods. You will be simply placing a purchase order on your vendor. The vendor will supply you the material, and the same material you will be supplying to your customer. So in this kind of an arrangement, you will have to keep this material in your warehouse, in your inventory, and then you will have to arrange for the transportation of this material from your warehouse to the customer warehouse. So rather than going to this conventional process of receiving the material from the vendor and then supplying it to the customer, what you can do is you can directly ask the vendor to supply this material to your customer. So in this way, against the purchase order, the vendor will supply the material to the customer, and hence you will not have to keep the material in your stock, and you will not have to bear the cost of transportation of these goods from your warehouse to the customer's warehouse. So this kind of an arrangement where the vendor supplies the material directly to your customer is called a third party process. So now let's see what all steps you will have to do in SAP to do this process. So the first step will be that you have to create a sales order, and this sales order will contain the line item which will be relevant for third party processing. Now this relevance system will understand from the item category. This is the sales document item category, and the standard item category that is provided by SAP is TAS. And this is triggered through material item category group BANS. So you will have to create a material code which will have item category group as BNS, and through this item category group, the sales order line item will have the item category TAS. And through this TAS line item category, system will understand that you are going to follow the third party process. And what system will do in the next step? System will automatically create a purchase requisition in the background against which you can create a purchase order. And this purchase order will be a special procurement purchase order which will be for the third party. And the item category for this PO will be S. And once the purchase order is created, you will send this purchase order to the vendor, against which the vendor will supply the material directly to the third party, that is your customer, from which you receive this sales order, and then will submit its invoice to you. Then in the next step, what you will do is you will create the goods receipt against the purchase order. Now this is an optional step because you are not receiving the material physically. So you can create a goods receipt, or you can simply do away with this process and you can directly process the vendor invoice through T-code MIRO. Okay, and once you have processed the invoice from the vendor, you will raise the bill to your customer against the delivered quantity as per the normal billing process against the sales order. So you can see the process started from a sales order. A PR got created in the background against which you created a purchase order. This purchase order is a special purchase order with item category S, against which the vendor will supply the material to your customer. You will process the invoice of the vendor and then you will raise your invoice to your customer. And in this way, the whole third party process will get completed. In this whole process, the GR is optional. You can either create a GR or you can directly process the invoice of the vendor through MIGO. So let's now move to SAP and see this whole process. So in our first step, we'll create a material code. So let's go to T code MM01 and we'll select the material type as HAWA, that is for trading goods. So you can see here HAWA is for trading goods. We'll press enter. Then we'll select basic data 1. We'll select sales views, then purchasing, then storage 1 and accounting 1. We'll press enter. Then we'll enter the plant code, storage location. We'll enter the sales organization and the distribution channel and we'll press enter. Now let's give it a description. Let's enter trading goods. We'll enter unit of measurement, material group. Then in the sales view, we'll have to enter the tax data. Then we'll press enter. And here you can see in the item category group, we have to enter the item category group as BANS. Let's take a drop down. Let me show you what BANS means. So you can see BANS is for third party item. So this is the most important step while creating the material for third party process. That for item category group, you have to select as BANS. Then we'll press enter. Then again we'll press enter. In the purchasing, we'll enter a purchase group. Then in the accounting one, we'll enter the valuation class. And then we'll save the material code. So you can see the material code has been created. Now we have to create the sales order for this particular material code. So we'll go to T code VA01. We'll select the order type as standard order and we'll enter the sales area, that is the sales organization, distribution channel and division, and we'll press enter. We'll enter the customer code and here we'll enter the material code. We'll enter the order quantity. And we'll enter the plant. And then we'll press enter. We'll have to enter a customer reference. So let's enter third party. So you can see we have entered all the data, and if you scroll right, you can see that the item category which has been selected by the system is TAS. So this is very important that when you create a sales order for third party process, your item category for the sales order line item should be TAS. This is the standard item category provided by SAP for third party process. If you take a drop down, you can see the TAS stands for third party item. Now let's enter the pricing. So we'll enter the basic price. Now if you go to the detail of this line item, you can see in the schedule line tab, you have schedule line category as CS. Now this is also important that when you're going to create sales order for a third party process, then the schedule line category should be CS. You can see CS stands for third party. Now let us save this sales order. Now let's open this sales order again. Now again, if you go to the detail and if you go to the schedule lines, you can see that the system has created a purchase requisition in the background. You can see this PR number and item number has been generated. Now this PR has been created specifically for this third party process. Now let's open this PR first. So we'll copy this PR number. and we'll open this PR in ME53N. So you can see system automatically created a purchase requisition for the item for which I created the sales order. You can see the quantity is same as that of the sales order line item, and the item category for this PR is S. If you take a drop down, this item category stands for third party. So system automatically selects this item category in the PR, and this material code and the quantity is taken from the sales order. Now against this purchase requisition, you have to create the purchase order. Now you can follow the source of supply route also and automatically create a PO through ME59N. We have already discussed that in our previous video. If you haven't seen that video, then you can see that on my channel, or we can process this PR through ME21N also and create your purchase order. So let's create the PO through ME21N. So we'll copy this PR. We'll go to ME21N. We'll enter a supplier. Enter the purchase organization, purchase group and company code. And here we'll enter the purchase requisition number. You can see here, I will copy this PR number and this item number here, and I'll press enter. So you can see system has copied the line item from the purchase requisition, and system has copied the account assignment category and the item category. And here I'll enter the price for this purchase order. So let's enter some price. So now you can see system automatically took the item categories S and account assignment as X. Now against this account assignment, you will have to enter a GL account, and system has automatically populated the sales order and line item here. So in this way, you can see that this PO line item is assigned to the sales order, and you can enter a GL account here and then save this purchase order. So your purchase order is saved. So till now what we have done, we created a sales order against which a PR got created in the background. Against that PR, we have created the purchase order. Now against this purchase order, the vendor will supply the material directly to my customer and will raise its invoice. That invoice I can process through MIRO against this purchase order that I have created just now. Now what I can do is I can create a goods receipt also, but that GR is an optional step in third party process because I'm not receiving the material physically. So it is totally an optional step whether you want to create GR or not. So you can either create GR and then process the invoice through MIRO, or you can simply process the invoice of the vendor through MIRO. So what I'll do is I'll process the GR and then process the MIRO, but it totally depends upon you how you want to do this process. So let's process the GR first. So let's go to T code MIGO. We'll enter this purchase order. We'll press enter and we'll post this GR. So this GR has been posted. Now we'll post the MIRO. So we'll go to T code MIRO. We'll enter the PO number here. We'll enter the invoice date. Then we'll enter a baseline date here. Let's click on simulate. Now let's post this invoice. So you can see the invoice has been posted. Now in the next step, what we'll have to do is we'll have to raise the invoice on the customer. That is, we'll have to do the billing process against the sales order. So to do the billing process, we'll go to T code VF01. So you can see this is the sales order. We'll simply save this invoice. So you can see the invoice has been posted. And in this way, we have done the whole third party process. We created a sales order, which led to creation of PR in the background, against which we created a purchase order. Then we did the GR and then we posted the MIRO, and then we posted this invoice to the customer. And we completed the whole process. Now, if you want to see the document flow, then we can go to VA03. And in this sales order, you can see the sales order was created against which the purchase order got created, and this invoice was posted against the sales order, which has led to the creation of this accounting document. Now, if you go to this purchase order, let's go to this purchase order from here. In the purchase order history, you can see that the GR was posted and this invoice document was posted. So in this way, the whole process of third party has been done. You have to remember two things. One is the item category in the sales order line item should be TAS, and the item category in the purchase order line item should be item category S. Okay, so these are two important things. And the sales order item category was triggered from the material item category group, where we entered the material item category group as BANS. Let me just show you again. If I double click on this material code, and if you go to the sales view, you can see the item category group was entered as BANS. So against this item category group, the sales order was created. Let's open that sales order from PO itself. We can go to account assignment, and from here I can double click and open this sales order. And you can see in this sales order, the item category was TAS. And if I double click on this line item, I can go to the schedule lines, and here the schedule line category is CS, and this purchase requisition got created against this sales order line item in the background. So this is the whole third party process. I hope that you've understood this process. Now let us see the configuration behind the sales order item category, that how this third party process was triggered and how purchase requisition was created in the background. Let's see that. So we'll be seeing these 4 SD related configurations. First, we'll see the configuration where the sales document item category is maintained. The item category that we used in this process was TAS. So we'll see the configuration against this item category. Then we'll see where we assign this item category to the item category group. That is the item category group BANS, which we entered in the material master. This is assigned to this item category TAS. So we'll see that. Then we'll see where the schedule line category is assigned to the item category. The schedule line category we used in this process was CS. So we'll see where this item category TAS is assigned to CS. And then finally, we'll see what all settings are there in the schedule line category CS that we use for this third party process. So we'll see these 4 configurations. So let's see them in SAP now. So let's first see the first configuration, that is the maintain item category. So we'll go to T code VOV7. So you can see here, we have used item categories TAS. So let's open that. You can see TAS is for third party item. We'll double click here. So here 2 configurations which are important are schedule lines allowed. That is, it will lead to creation of schedule lines, and the billing relevance, that it is relevant for billing. Now let's see the second configuration, which is assigning this item category to the item category group. So we'll go to T code VOV4. So let's go to T code VOV4, and here you can see against the sales order and the item category group, the default item category has been assigned. So we'll enter our sales order type as OR, and we'll enter item category group as BANS. So you can see here sales order type OR and item category BANS has been assigned to default item category as TAS. So this item category is defaulted by the system in the sales order line item if we use the material where item category group we maintained as BANS. So here the sales order type and item category group is assigned to your default item category. Then in the next step, we'll see the configuration of assigning the schedule line category to the item category. So we'll go to T code VOV5. Here we'll enter the item category as TAS. And you can see the item category TAS has been assigned to schedule line category CS. Now we'll finally see the configuration of this schedule line category, that is schedule line category CS. So we'll go to T code VOV6. And let's open the schedule line category CS here. And you can see the schedule line category CS is for third party. If we double click this, so here you can see the settings related to PR creation has been entered. So you can see here order type is purchase requisition, that is the document type NB. Item category is third party. If you take a drop down, you can see this third party. This is the internal representation of the item category which we use in MM. This we have already discussed in our item category video. If you haven't seen that video, then you can check that on my channel. There we have discussed that the item categories that we enter on the screen, they are represented internally through these numbers. So for item category S that you see in your purchase requisition or purchase order is internally represented by this number 5. So you can see here system automatically select the item category in PR as S, which is internally represented by the number 5 here and which has been entered here only, and the account assignment category is also defaulted to X. So you can see here, in this way, through this schedule line category, the PR is created. This schedule line category was assigned to the item category, and this item category was assigned to the order type and item category group. This item category group we entered in the material master, that is the item category group BANS. So in this way, you have item category group BANS, item category TAS, and schedule line category as CS. We have seen the configuration of all these three entities. So in this way, we have covered this whole process. I have tried to explain this whole process in a very easy to understand manner. And I hope that you have understood this whole process and you have liked this video. If you like my videos, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for supporting me. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot.